Welcome to the next Critique the Community. What are we critiquing today?
Today is Quirky images.
Quirky images, that's right. If you would like to be a part of the next critique, we're going to be critiquing backlit images. We're going to kind of leave it at that, broad images, backlit images, and then you are currently working on another video.
Yeah, so somebody in the comments said, wouldn't it be really interesting to know more of the backstory on some of the images that we've critiqued? Many times you and I argue if something is real or if it's possibly straight out of camera or manipulated. So I thought, why don't I do a post on Fstoppers, and I put the link below in the description, and I just simply ask if you've ever been on a Critique the Community, especially if it's been a really controversial image and we've wildly guessed at how it was taken. Submit that picture and maybe a story. Maybe you could even submit like a behind the scenes or an unedited version.
Well, and also because we have horrible memories, if we were wrong, say, Lee thought I did it like this, but in reality I did it like that. And then the most interesting ones, we're gonna make a video and kind of tell the story of these pictures.
Yeah, and maybe I'll leave this article up for like a month and maybe we'll mention this a few more times to give people the chance to submit, but that will be a future kind of just side video. But the next Critique the Community will be backlit images.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put a link to the description to this post.
Yep, go to the description below, and then you can always head to fstoppers.com/contest.
You got it.
To sign up for the next Critique the Community.
All right, let's do this.
So many people question on this post, what is quirky? And I referred to a few photographers. John Keatley is a good example of people who have quirky images. I also think like David LaChapelle has some images that are like super high in production, but people are doing weird things. It's kind of unexpected, you know?
Yeah.
So I was trying to tell people in the comments that's what you should base it on. And I don't, nobody really has David LaChapelle type images, but I think the idea was portraits or interesting things happening that were unexpected, or I think they read it as funny. So apparently a lot of these images are going to be funny images.
That's fine. This is the highest rated shot?
This is the highest rated shot.
Okay. Are you ready?
I think so.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars, we agree. There's some aspects of this I really like, but then there's other things that just kind of make it feel a little bit cheap to me. I love the lighting on the, camera left dog eye, but there seems to be some sort of either shadow recovery that was done to this dog, or there was another light very close to the camera. It almost looks like a ring light effect, where it's kind of filling in so many shadows that I feel like the dog is losing a lot of depth. And then when I look at the background and, we've got this vignette with this really weird yellowy green color, it just doesn't feel as polished as other quirky dog photos I have seen. And then the dog's expression, we're definitely getting somewhere. I feel like the dog's eye looks incredible, but then the dog's mouth, like going after the tree. Again, I've seen incredible photos of dogs doing crazy, like there's the guy who does the picture of the dogs like diving in the water and their faces look crazy. This is like okay, but it doesn't live up to that.
I think what makes this image so strong is the fact that it is shot on a seamless backdrop, paper or something. It makes it pop out. It feels very commercial. It's just an interesting way to take pictures of dogs. I don't know that I dislike the fill. I don't know that there's a ring light here or the shadow recovery. I feel like there's a lot of detail for such a dark-skinned dog with the hair and everything. I like that. What I don't like is the huge octabox right above glaring into the eye. Like people always talk about, the catch light in somebody's eye and if it's circle or square. This just feels too big to me. I love the one on the right. My eye just keeps going to his eye in that softbox, and maybe no other person other than a photographer would notice that.
So I had someone email me the other day and he was asking if it was like a rule that photographers have that they themselves should not show up in the eyes of their subjects. And I said, I've never heard that rule before. But he almost acted like...
You should Photoshop yourself out or
something?
Yeah,
or like you should make every attempt to not show up in the eyes of your subject. And I've never considered that before, but he acted like it bothered him. So in this case, the light is just so big in this dog's eye, it bothers you. Community gives this 3.15. And this is the highest rated. Is this about to be a very weak critique?
There were some strange images. There was a lot of stuff of just like portraits of people sticking their tongue out. And it's like, it didn't qualify as like something you'd want to put in your portfolio. It's a strange image, but it wasn't like a good strange, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of images that I think border right around this, but this is the highest rated image.
All right.
You want to pick a random number?
Let's go 19 for the random winner. Yeah. All right. Next up. Number 2.
Is this quirky enough for you? Is this quirky at all?
I feel like this is quirky. I feel like there is a lot of styling going on. Like these glasses feel like they were purposefully picked. I wish there was a little bit more styling going on with her outfit. And I wish the horizontal line was straight.
All right, you ready?
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. Oh man, I just feel like there's so much potential here. I love this girl. I love the look she's giving, but I kind of want her to be more of like the nerdy bully or something, you know. And I want more going on with her outfit or more going on with her. I don't know if I want her holding a dodgeball or I don't know if I want her in a cheerleading outfit, but I just feel like there's so much potential here. Maybe I want stuff going on in the background.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of, it's a cool portrait, but it's leaving me wanting more.
I know I was just talking about David LaChapelle, but this is one of those images where if you had somebody like cutting the grass in the background, like a nerdy dad, or you had like old women sunbathing with the big like foil, something like that. I don't know. I know I'm reaching in left field here, but you could push this so far over the top that you'd be like, whoa, like this is really cool.
There's stuff to see in every corner.
I see what you're saying about the outfit. It's like the most bland, simple thing you could have done, but she could become any character just by having something else
like maybe she should be wearing the school uniform, you know? Like the Catholic school uniform or something, and it would tell so much more of a story.
One thing I really like about this image is the lighting. Like this is lit, but it's lit so subtly that you don't think of it as being lit. And I think a lot of photographers at the highest level do that really well, where their lighting is intentional, but it doesn't call attention to itself. Do you think, like, I wanted to be an orthodontist at one point. Do you think that's like a real prosthetic thing, or is that something they just made to...
I assume this is fake, but maybe not. I remember when I was in school, kids seemed to have this it was like one kid in every class or grade had this. I haven't seen a kid with headgear in a decade.
I mean, now they can build all this stuff in your mouth that like pulls the jaw and like tightens it, and you know. How does
it pull teeth forward? Isn't this what you need it for? It's like gripping the back of your head and pulling things out.
Well, that's what I actually had an underbite or an overbite.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I had to wear this thing that like it had. Every time your jaw came down, it kind of pulled your jaw forward, just in the way that the little blocks, I think it was called like a twin block. And so it would just pull your mouth forward. But you didn't need anything externally, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the visual picture you get.
Your life would be over if you had to wear that for like 3 years.
My dad had TMJ surgery, which is like your jaw where it meets here, it like messes up. They had to break this bone to make it shorter. And they had to like wire his mouth shut for a week or two. So he had to drink all his meals through a straw when he was like 24.
That's awful. Hey, at least he didn't have to go to school like that. When you're young, the kids will be brutal. All right, community gives this 2.58. I personally like this image a lot more than the winning dog shot. I feel like this is more polished.
Well, maybe you'll find a lot more images in there that you'll
Fix your vertical and horizontal lines. Come on. Interesting. Very interesting.
This is where everyone's going to be upset that this is digital art. You didn't shoot that polar bear. And,
of course.
It's like tents in the background.
Well, it's supposed to be like a carnival or something, right?
Barnum and Bailey, is that still around?
No clue. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
2?
Yeah, I just feel like the composite that you've done with the bear on the stool looks really good, but the haze you have used so that you don't really have to composite the tints in the background, that looks super fakey to me. And it doesn't really make much sense because it's like we have this desert ground, but then we have this fog that looks like it's coming from a cold environment.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest critique is I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the floor. I don't know what the floor should be. I mean, if it could be ice or something would be kind of cool. But it looks like a polar bear that's in a dried riverbed like you would see in Arizona or something, and
right.
It doesn't quite go together. But, I mean, I still think... I don't know. I still think this is a pretty cool image.
Well, I mean,
It's
I
still
feel like the composite and the lighting and the shadows that you have on the ground are working pretty well. I wonder if those came from the original bear shot. But
This would be one I'd like to know all the pieces that went into this. Like, where did you source the bear? You know, where did you did you take a picture of a real bear, or is this all from like stock imagery?
I mean, that bear looks like a snapshot from a zoo to me, but I've been known to be wrong
Really?
in the past, once or twice. Community gives this 2.95. So I've had a rough day today, Patrick.
Oh, have you? Mm-hmm. You look like you're dressed for a rough day. What has your rough day been consisting of?
Well, I have been going to Subway a lot recently. We have a Subway like right outside.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I went to Subway once and got their meatball sub, and it was horrible that I've never gone back.
Okay. Well, as a vegetarian, Subway's a great place because it's like, you know, one of the
Unlimited
cheapest sandwiches
yeah.
and you get all the veggies. So they have this ad on the wall and they call it the selfie combo. Why it's called the selfie combo, I have no idea. But for $5, you get 6-inch sub, chips, cookie, soda.
Okay.
$5. So I have now purchased it 3 or 4 times in the past, and I have had trouble in the past, but I've always been able to explain my way out. And here's the trouble. I say I would like the selfie combo, and they say the selfie combo is like one of 2 sandwiches today. It's like the chicken or it's the turkey.
Yeah.
And I go, no problem. I'll have the chicken, but you can leave the chicken off.
Yes.
I just want veggies. And then they're like, but that's a veggie delight, and that's not part of the selfie combo. And I'm like, listen, I've been to Subway my whole life. I know the way this works. It's not like I'm getting more or less veggies. Like, you get all the veggies you want. You get all the sauces you want.
If anything, I'm helping you out. Your inventory.
Yes.
You have like an extra chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I go in there today, and the guy's like, I'm sorry.
Do they recognize you at this point? Like, they know you?
I don't know. Like, I think the manager recognizes me, and she's always like arguing with the people who I'm communicating with, and they're like communicating through the back. So this guy's like, you're not allowed to do this. And, you know, I'm trying to be like, but I've done it before. So I'm like, fine, screw it. As he's making my veggie sandwich, I'm like, what's the difference? Is there anything different? And he goes, there's 2 things in the computer. The Veggie Delight is one thing and the chicken sandwich is another thing. If I press Veggie Delight, it will not let me do the selfie combo. And I'm like, fine. So give me the chicken sandwich and leave the chicken off. And he's like, no, that's the Veggie Delight. So we get...
This is like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes, dude. No, it gets worse.
Like, just throw, when you take the chicken to put on my sandwich, just throw it in the trash.
This is what's about to happen. So we get to the register. I open my wallet, and I have exactly $5.
For the combo.
That's all I have. And I know, because I've been to Subway a lot here, they have a $10 minimum to use a credit card. Mm-hmm. So he rings me up, and now I know I can't afford the cookie anymore. So it's like, all right.
But you're trying to break apart the combo. You're trying to get just the veggie.
Yeah, I wanted the sandwich, the cookie, the chips, the drink.
Sure.
Now I can't get the cookie, so I'm like, just give me the sandwich, the chips, the drink. And he's like, that'll be $6. And I'm like, listen, dude, all I have is $5, or I have a credit card. You choose what you want. And he's like, you can't do the credit card. Then he goes, why don't you buy 3 cookies and it'll be over $10? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, how about this? How about you hand me the piece of chicken and I'll throw it in the garbage. And then it's $1 cheaper and I get the cookie. And the guy's like, is that what you want to do? And I'm like, yes, I want to throw the chicken in the garbage. And
is there a line behind you?
No, it's just me. Yeah, I wouldn't have done this. So he's like, I'm going to have to consult the manager about this. And you know me, like, I'm a vegetarian for animal rights. Like, I don't want to waste meat. If meat is about to be wasted, then I will eat the meat.
Right.
So now in my mind, I'm like, I'm about to eat this chicken.
Yeah.
So the manager comes over and he's like, explain to her what you want to do. And I'm like, I want my chicken for my chicken sandwich so that I can get the selfie combo. And I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to throw it in this garbage right here. And she's like, okay. So she gives me the cookie, the free cookie. I no longer have to pay $6. Now it's $5. It's gone down in price. And then the guy's like, do you want the chicken? And I'm like, if you want me to throw the chicken away right in front of you, you can hand me the chicken and I'm going to put it in this garbage can right here. And he was like, okay, you don't have to throw it away. So it was the weirdest. But now I feel like Larry David, I can't be seen in there again.
Yeah.
This is like the 4th time I've had a little skirmish with them where I tried to explain that, like, I
wonder if it's an inventory thing, or like, couldn't they have just taken all the chicken and like put one piece of chicken in all of the other chicken trays? So the next customers would all get like a little bit more chicken, and the inventory would be straightened out, and you would still have this.
Sense. It makes no sense. And this isn't a Puerto Rican thing. This is just like a Subway, you know, anywhere that pays their employees like $7 an hour or whatever. Like, nobody is actually thinking. They're just like, this does not have the chicken. It's not a chicken sandwich. I can't hit that button on the computer. Therefore, you can't get the selfie special.
Well, and so what Subway should do is they should just make the veggie one always part of that combo because it's probably the cheapest meal that they could get.
Right,
you know.
right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. That
Sounds
was
like a horrible day.
All right, this image is quirky for show. Faux show. I don't like her outfit. Everything about this image is so awesome, but then I feel like she's wearing like a clown's jacket. All right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 3 and a 4. I mean, goodness, if she was in a dress or like normal looking clothes, 4 or 5. Her facial expression's a little weird too.
What do you think it should be?
More relaxed. It feels like her neck is really straining, and then it feels like her eyes are closed or something. But
she seems like she's kind of like in a pleasurable like mood. Like if she was on a massage table or she was laying down or anything else, it just feels like
what?
I don't feel like
her neck, dude.
Are you talking about that one shadow?
If she was laying down on a massage table, like turn it like this. If she was laying down on a massage table, her head would be like 4 inches off of the table.
Well, that's how my head is normally, so I don't know. She has a little forward chin situation going on.
She needs to do those back stretches.
Yeah, I love the lighting on the background. I love the tonality in this entire picture. I keep going to this bush at the bottom. I know that seems minor, but I feel like would you just Photoshop that out or have more of it? I like the color scheme. I don't know if I love the teal and the tennis shoes. Like there are some weird styling choices here, but there's something good going on here. I think this belongs in a portfolio. And it is quirky just because of the...
You know what? Now that I turn this sideways, is she actually doing this move?
Maybe.
That's wild. I mean, looking at it vertically, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, this is Photoshopped or whatever. But then when you turn it sideways, it looks like she really could be doing this. That's pretty wild.
The other strange thing, though, is when you turn it sideways, you can draw a line right along her arm where the tones of her back of her shirt change, and it looks like she's perfectly lying down, right? Just with the head off the table. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It could go either way.
I see some crappy Photoshop work. Do you see it? Look right below her hair.
You don't think that oh, that's like a clone mark where the like concrete meets the
Yeah,
ground?
you didn't even get the edge. Come on, man. I never mess up in Photoshop for the entire world to see and talk trash about me.
Never.
You shouldn't ever do that. All right, community gives this 3.0. Moving on.
Right on point. This is a kind of fun image. Something different.
Mm-hmm. I don't like how they have added the fake shadow to all the stuff on the table on the left. It looks so fake. It's like everything has highlights on it, but they've just darkened it to make it look like it's in shadow, but it does not look real.
I see what you're saying.
And then what's going on in the background? Is this like a Yeti monster that has busted through a wall?
Yeah, I feel like this whole thing is some weird backplate. Like, doesn't it feel like the floor is too high? And then look at the right, the perspective of this nitrogen tank. It's like getting blurrier as it gets close to the camera, but then it's, I don't know.
If you look at the roof line too, it's like at this strange angle. Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on. It's so weird. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 2 and a 3. What did you throw?
I threw a 3. There's definitely things I don't love about this, but the nature of the content, I think you'd still get hired to do this kind of stuff. But the perspective on the right, that probably bothers me the most. It just looks weird that like it's super sharp behind, you can see the Yeti, and then he's super sharp, but then for some reason there's this blur along the right-hand side of the frame. Looks a little strange to me. And then I agree, like the shadow highlight thing going on in the foreground is strange, but I almost want to see more in the foreground, or like remove all of this. Like, is that like carburetor parts or something? Like, it's unnecessary. Like, it doesn't need to be there. Maybe you had to put something there because the backplate didn't work or something, but I like the microscope.
All right, let's move on. 2.69. Ooh la la. Can we put this on YouTube?
Yeah, so this image, I figured it was rated pretty high, and I figured we would just blur out. We would not free the nipples. But if you want to see the full image, go to
oh, yeah, that clickbait.
Yeah,
you got to come to fstoppers.com to see it. Click on the link in the description.
All right, you ready?
Yes. 3, 2, 1. 2?
I'm in between a 2 and a 3. I feel like the lighting on her looks great.
Yeah. You would.
But that might be all that I like. Like, the walls in this room look weird. The like canvas that they're using for the backdrop, it all looks cheap and tie-dyed. And the bird, I know there's controversy about blurred birds and Fstoppers videos and photos and stuff, but the only thing I like is I feel like the lighting on her looks really nice, but I don't like the casting of the models. I don't like the room that they're in. It's like, it looks like the Venetian,
yeah,
you know, like, but way cheaper done. You know, you got like pulled like blinds on the right-hand side. Like, that just looks cheap. I don't know. Like, this has the potential.
It does.
Like, the concept has the potential to be really great. I just feel like I'm not digging the girl on the left. I'm not digging the guy on the right. It's almost like this wants to look like it was in the past, but then the way he's dressed with the blue jeans with the tears and everything,
So that's my biggest issue, is the guy on the right. I feel like
the styling on
the way he is dressed.
If he was like in a toga or something, it might pull it together more.
That'd be something. I don't know about that. But yeah, it pulls me out of the image. And then when I look at what she's standing on, that's probably the second worst part to me. I don't mind the fake sky and kind of the, you know, the set walls and everything and the fake trees. I kind of get all of that. But that guy specifically kind of ruins it for me. And then the bird, I kind of like the bird. I don't know. I
Why
like
is the bird inside? Like, I don't know. It just
but this whole thing is weird. You know, it's like this is like fine art. This is David LaChapelle takes tons of pictures like this.
Maybe you're right. And if I said, "Oh, this is some celebrity," and maybe this would be an amazing image. Like, oh my gosh, you captured Katy Perry. You know, she'd probably be covered. But I don't know. There's just something about the styling that doesn't feel quite as over the top, and I feel like he would do that. He would make sure every person in the image.
I agree with that. It feels like you went 80 or 90% of the way there, and then just kind of like, hey Tom, get in here. We need somebody on the right side of the frame, and it just doesn't really fit for me. Community 2.99.
I think I've seen this on Fstoppers
I have
before.
too. I love this. I love this.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. 4 stars. Easy 4 stars. I mean, you put a celebrity in this. I mean, who do we know? I forget her name. She's going to kill me. She's in New York. She's been doing a photo series over the last few years where she's teaming up with comedians. And she's doing series of pictures of them doing anything they want to do. Like she says, come up with a concept, and then she makes it happen. It's really awesome. I'm sure you could Google it. And she did one with Jim Gaffigan, and I think he's got like kids he's got like 6 or 7 kids. He's ridiculous. And they're all jumping on his bed or something, and he's like eating a slice of pizza. He's like a slob in bed.
So if this was like Louis C.K., can I say that? Can we mention Louis C.K.? Or is he
Is it
canceled?
Louis or Louis?
Louis C.K.
I mean, he's canceled, but he's okay.
He's canceled. You put him in there? I don't even think you need to put him in there. I love this guy. Like this, and it's funny because I keep thinking of the Taco Bell commercials they've had like the last couple of years, where they're all like medieval and they're like eating tacos and it's like messy on the table. You don't watch TV.
I have
and
never seen commercials in so long.
They'll know what I'm talking about, but it's a similar vibe of like everybody's dressed medieval and they're just throwing tacos around, and it's got this really dark Renaissance, moody lighting.
This is so good. Man, I'd love to know if this was styled after a specific painting or something, because the way he's holding that burger with his pinky out. I've seen so many old paintings like that. They got the grapes or whatever. So it would be cool to see this side by side with.
And what's awesome is we just threw a 4 on this, but this is the type of image that's accessible to every photographer out there.
Absolutely.
Like everything in this is cheap, except like I don't know if the backdrop's photoshopped or if it's like some kind of canvas backdrop or something, but the production on this is high, but it's so cheap.
Right.
This whole shoot could easily cost $25. You bought some food.
Yeah.
And the lighting is so simple. It's one light. Maybe there's a fill, but and you have like, you can see the McDonald's cup. There's like a incandescent light on the right, kind of casting in. But man,
gosh, I feel like maybe I should give this 5. I don't know. This is my favorite image I've seen in so long in critiques. I don't necessarily feel like, the lighting and the subject matter is like blowing my mind, but it's just this concept overall is so clever.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done. All right, community gives this 3.13. I hate you all. How did that one not win? You don't think these kids are twins? He looks older than her, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, the theme kept going back to what is quirky, and it's like unexpected or it's funny. I don't know that either of these fit into those two subcategories, but do you consider this quirky? Like,
I do consider this quirky.
It's an interesting, like, off-kilter portrait of, like, this is so cool. If I had a shot like this with my sister, it would be better than probably what we wound up doing.
Oh, my, of course. I mean, I don't know how you get kids to do this and feel so natural. It feels to me like they were kind of messing around and this was candidly captured. Maybe I'm completely off here, but just the fact that neither of them are smiling and she's looking off frame so perfectly, but she's got the face cupped like that. I don't know. I think it's fantastic. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. 4 stars again. We agree.
4 back to back. There's one thing that I think I've noticed here, and is there a composite stitching thing in the middle behind the two of them?
Or it's a crease in the paper,
Something.
It's
not a big deal, but like, if you're the photographer like we are and you're looking at this, it's just my eye goes to it, and I think regardless if it's in camera or if they somehow, I can't imagine that they composited these two together, but maybe she didn't have a background or something and you had to like fudge it. I feel like that should just be blurred or cloned out to where it's a little more seamless right there.
I also, I'm not a huge fan of the table, and you also are showing so much of the table. Like if you look at the amount of the table below his hand, and then you look at the amount of head space, I kind of want those things to be even. And there's a little bit more white table on the bottom, and because it's so bright, my eye keeps going to this dead space. And the table's got some marks on it that make it look kind of like a cheapo table and stuff, but it's not enough marks to give the table character.
Yeah.
So it kind of cheapens the shot. So you've got these wrinkles in the background, but they're not enough wrinkles. And then you've got these scuffs on this cheap table, but not quite enough scuffs. So it's like maybe crop the bottom off just a little bit or zoom in just a little bit, but incredible lighting and posing and expression on these kids.
I don't think the table or background bother me much at all. I see what you're saying with the crop. If it was just a little wider, you just cut off the bottom.
Just the littlest bit, just to make it even with the headspace. Community gives this 2.94.
What are they smoking?
What are you guys smoking?
Or not smoking? That was a great image.
Sometimes I feel like people rate animals high just because they like dogs. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's got a kitty cat, get 5 stars, and then they get.
There was a lot of animals that did not make the cut.
Oh, okay. Well, are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 3 and a 4. I'm going 3. I've got very few critiques. One critique, you have the subjects centered within this white building, but then we have a lot of dead space on the left side of the frame.
Yeah.
Why isn't this more centered? That's one issue. And then my other issue, this mailman is not reaching very hard for this letter, It's like this girl is giving her life to pass this letter off, and this guy, it's like what's the Sistine Chapel painting where it's like God is reaching, but Adam is like, he's not really that into it.
Well,
this is even less than that.
It depends how you read this. If you read this as he had the letter held out and she's grabbing it as the dog's taking away, maybe it would make sense. If you're reading it as like she's got to get the letter to the mailman, he's like, sorry, it's going to have to be tomorrow.
That's a good point. For some reason, I didn't even consider that. It does feel better if she is getting the letter from the mailman. That does feel better.
Yeah.
But do you agree with crop in a little bit and even up this center building?
I keep going back to the buildings. Like, first of all, the post office isn't the most beautiful building either, and so you kind of feel like this is in an urban environment because of the buildings to the left and the right. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Do you think the camera should just move to the left a little bit so that they are more centered in front of this post landing, and then you just crop more? Or if you try to crop it, is there a crop that you can do with this exact composition that you like?
Yeah, like this.
You want to keep the flag in there, right?
Yeah. I just want this. I want an even amount of the brown building on the right side as the brown building on the left side. That's all.
Yeah, I can see that.
Community gives it 3.09.
Oh boy.
Interesting. Is this telling a story for you, Patrick?
It is. And the story is the photographer went to the Army surplus store and bought the most cliche prop in all of photography, according to me.
Where did he find this horrific home, though? This is like a murder zone.
Yeah, this is like one of those rehab houses in Chicago that you can get for like a mere $1,000.
3, 2, 1.
Photographically, I don't think it's that bad. I'm just so not a fan of this style. This is like the deviant art, model mayhem thing. I just think who's going to hire you for this? It's quirky maybe, but I imagine art buyers see this kind of stuff all the time. And this doesn't show that you have that creative spark where you're like, I have found, a lot of these images have, I've found this unique twist that's going to capture the viewer.
Yeah.
To me, this is just
I think you're being rough on this because we have both seen many images where you just take a picture of someone in an environment with a gas mask on and then they think they're being creative because they happen to have a gas mask.
But at some point, doesn't that very idea become a parody of itself to where you shouldn't do it at all?
I agree. I mean, I agree, but there's certainly other genres of photography that are copied way more than gas mask photos.
I know, but some of them, like, there's cliches in, like, landscape photography, but at the end of the day, you're still like, that's a beautiful picture or a beautiful location, or might be a little heavy-handed with the post. This is just like, if you showed this to Katie or your mom or any person off the street, is this, like, selling anything? Is this got, like... is this going to stop anyone and say... whoa, like many of the other pictures have. A lot of these other pictures, I feel like you would stop and say, that's pretty interesting.
I think I am going to repeat what you always say and say, if this had more of a complete story, it could be a really powerful image. But I think a lot of people who happen to have a gas mask just put a gas mask on somebody and go, that's the story.
Yeah.
In the future, it's poisonous outside and everyone has to wear a gas mask. Whereas if there was something else going on, like his wife was taking a dump and he didn't want to smell it, or like there's like a fire going on, like something else that gave this a reason.
If you just had a really good-looking guy reading the paper, like maybe this would have the Fight Club feel to it. You know,
That's true.
It's like a guy who has the suit feels a little frumpy, but if you put like a super high-end suit there and a really clean-cut looking guy, but he's in this bad environment, I don't know. I feel like it would have more merit to me than the gas mask. I just see the gas mask and I don't get excited about it. And this is where everybody gets upset with me, but it's been done so many times and usually it doesn't work out well. I'm not a huge fan. But like lighting-wise and scene and composition, I do like a lot of those things. I'm just not a fan of the story in this image or the lack of story.
Community gives it 3.0.
So which one of these do we actually rate? Is this like a...
This is weird looking.
Be careful what you say. This might be somebody's child out there.
It's obviously someone's child.
It's somebody's child.
I feel like the kid looks so good in the middle one. And then so goofy in the other two. Are you ready?
I guess.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars.
Let's both agree we don't particularly like the left and the right one.
Yes.
So if we just focus on the middle one, and maybe like, I mean, he's got all this green light bleeding into his hair and stuff, but...
I mean, I don't assume this was taken on green. I would assume he's cut out and pasted on that.
Then why? I mean, he has green hair in all of them.
Yeah.
Unless he went to the pool.
I think maybe the kid has like dyed hair or something.
Really? You don't think it's like a green screen that's like bleeding in and...
I don't know. I think I would see it on other parts of his face. I don't know. Either way, doesn't matter.
You can't have a kid with green hair like in this type of shoot, right?
And that would be such an easy fix in Photoshop as well, to remove the green tint. That would be so simple.
I do like this 3-color thing. Like if the other frames were more interesting and like he looked better, I like this layout. Like I think there is something here to where JCPenney or somebody could run an ad like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think when
or you put a different kid, like you put another kid on the left and then maybe another kid on the right.
If you go to Target and you look at the ads they have, it's much better than Walmart pictures.
Oh, well, yeah.
And they have really good looking kids that are, might be jumping or might be doing a sport, and they're usually on seamless. They seem to have these plastered all over. I think their lighting might be a little better, but I don't think this is horrible. But these colors are not complementary in my opinion. These colors are not modern in my opinion. Like I have not seen any fashion photography that would use these colors at all, especially together.
I mean, the one on the right, there's brands like Home Depot or something. Like Target probably would have like a really bold red. But, the 3 of these colors side by side surely like is not in fashion right now. Community
2.74.
But I think the photographer is going in a right direction. I just think like the picture on the left, the kid's got the double chin, and then the right, he's just doing this weird expression and also looking straight into the camera. Maybe it makes sense in the middle shot, but like you look at so many ads like at Target and the people are looking at each other or off camera or... Another seamless. Is this color? the correct color?
I mean, this looks more modern, although I don't know what the heck is going on with this person and their outfit and their hair and the makeup and the clothing.
It's like Marge, but they got the hair backwards with the backdrop.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. So
it's definitely quirky.
Something. I do not like this photograph just because I don't know what the heck's going on. I find it to be like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. But when I look at this, it feels far more professional to me than the last shot of the kid. And in many ways, it's very similar. We've got somewhat similar lighting. We've got that flat colored background. We're, especially the middle picture, we're kind of cropping the legs off. I don't know. There's similarities here, but I see this in a professional photographer's portfolio, whereas the one on the left, it does not feel like modern professional photography to me.
And I think it's interesting if you look at this image, the blue one. Again, he's not making eye contact with the camera. I think that would make you feel even more uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on.
It has the slightest little hint, like 5% of a like spotlight behind him. It's just this subtle, like white, Yeah, I don't know what this image is selling or what it's saying, but it's done at a high enough level, and I think it's, blue on blue. Like, it's a really cool concept, to have the background the same, similar color tone as the outfit. But this could be like a series of pictures. Or if you just go to a professional photographer's portfolio and you see a bunch of thumbnails, this image, it may not be your favorite in there, but it's going to stand out and scream that, like, this is a style that I'm capable of doing.
Community 2.73. Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I want to give it a 2. Like, my heart tells me this is a 2, but this also feels like, it's straight out of the 90s. Like, this seems like an image that would be acceptable in like 1995.
Well, I mean, it feels so similar to the Nirvana album with the baby,
because it's in a pool
with the warped out lines and the like super wide angle with somebody's arms outstretched. It's got a very similar feeling.
Maybe.
I love this pose and this expression. When you compare her expression to the girl in the upper left, who looks like a freaking zombie up there, it's very difficult to look as good as this girl does underwater with your eyes open. Usually your face looks all puffed out and it looks weird. I feel like she looks great. My biggest issue is like, I just feel like this lighting coming from below and, blowing out her hand and stuff, it just feels kind of cheap. You have a little bit better lighting in this shot, and this shot would be amazing. And then I like the fact that there's people in the background. I do not like the fact that we have a zombie in the left and then a decapitated body on the right. They're just not really, their poses are not up to the standard of this pose with this girl.
Man, I wonder if, like, I don't know. I assume this can be done because anything can be done, but could you somehow clone out her head and part of her body and make it appear that, like, her head's above water, and you because it's her facial expression that's kind of ruining it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think this is strobed, or do you think this is like the light at the deep end of the pool or something?
Oh.
I mean, it also could be like an underwater housing that's got a strobe really close, with the articulating arm. But
that's what I thought. I mean, this feels brighter than any pool light could be to me. I mean, I thought for sure this was a strobe.
I don't know. It's a strange position to put the light.
That's the weird thing. Yeah, that's the weird thing.
Do you think you would prefer her eyes looking at the camera, her eyes being wider and open more, or her eyes being completely closed? Like, when I look at her eyes, it's like the eyes are the kind of weaker part of her facial expression.
Yeah, but they look better than a lot of people who open their eyes under the pool. Maybe it's because She's upside down. And it's
Also,
kinda harder
like
to
some
read
little
a face.
stuff, like I think her tongue is casting this weird shadow on her cheek. You could so easily like clone out that shadow and like clean up the face a little bit. That doesn't bother you?
I just feel like that's the least of my issues with this image, but so much potential. I have tried many times at underwater photography and failed 100% of the time. So I realize how difficult it is to shoot underwater in general, and then to get somebody to look good and get the lighting on them good is ridiculous.
Well, you know what? We have a special guest coming here soon. We have a pool, we have an ocean, and we do have some underwater camera gear. Maybe we should do something where we try, even if it's a failure. I know our audience loves it when we fail. Maybe we should try to come up with something like, I don't know if it needs to be this, but it could be surf related or it could be swim related. There's a lot of stuff we could do.
It's Pi Jerza, by the way.
Oh,
and if you guys remember, I'm the champion. I'm the world's best photographer, so I'm sure he's wanting to redeem himself.
Yeah, because he's beat all of us.
The only thing that matters is the last one. Community gives this image 2.73.
Oh, yeah, you won the last one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you forgot, huh?
Mm-hmm. This guy reminds me of somebody I know. And I can't think if it's from like high school or if it's somebody more recent in my life. Like just this character where like, this is definitely a quirky portrait. It's like the expression that they're giving. It's like,
I want something else going on. I want him holding a knife or a gun or...
Really? You want it that blatant?
Yeah, I mean...
This to me feels like if you did a photo series and you were like, adult yearbook pictures, go. This is like part of that series.
Okay. That's a very interesting idea, but don't you remember... It's a funny story. When we were in elementary school, we got to pose with something we liked, you know? So it's like, if you're a basketball fan, you pose with the basketball.
Okay.
Or if you're...
we had one shot. It was like, go in, assembly line, you get maybe 3 pictures, and then you pick from that. And if you were crazy, you did this, or you stuck your tongue out, and it's like, haha, I got the photographer.
Well...
What did you bring for your...
I didn't bring anything. It was like they had props there, but you got to choose the prop.
Oh, okay.
I had always been obsessed with gumball and vending machines. I was fascinated with them. Like, you know, I always wanted the toy and the candy, but then I always wanted to own one, and I wanted to start my own gumball machine business. And like, I was obsessed with gumball machines.
And they had that as a prop?
And they had a gumball machine as a prop. So they were like, what do you like?
Is it like the big one, or is it like...
It was like the one on the stand, the metal stand, you know. It was like medium-sized one.
Okay.
So I'm like...
This picture exists? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't think it exists anymore because I pose with... They're like, what do you like? And I'm like, oh, I love gumball machines. So they're like, great. Sit here.
You're the only one that picked that.
Yeah. So I come home, and my mom's excited to buy this yearbook picture, and she opens this thing up. And it's like, why would they put a gumball machine behind you?
That was the only option. Like, there's no picture of just you looking normal?
I don't think so. It was like, I chose that, and that's what I had for that year at that age. And my mom was like, I'm going to call the school and complain. Like, I was excited to have your, 4th grade picture.
Yeah.
And I was like, I chose that. And she was like, what? Why would you pose with a gumball machine? And I'm like, they asked me what I liked, and I like gumball machines. So it's like...
But you know the irony and all, and maybe your mom wouldn't agree to this, but that picture today with the gumball would be better than it ever could have been.
You're
without
probably
it.
right, because there's this crazy story behind it, and you could be like, look at what my dumb kid chose.
Well, we know your mom watches these, so Miss Morris, if this picture exists, even if you have the proof with like the photographer company over it, we need to see the gumball picture. Yeah, that'll show up in
the next critique if that exists.
We never rated this one.
No, let's do it.
All right.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars, we agree. I want more here. Like you said, if this was a series of like goofy kids reenacting their yearbook pictures as adults, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. But if you don't have that whole series to fall back on, then I want something else here. I want him to have hands with rings on it, or I want him to be holding a bunch of money, or I don't know what it would be. But I need a little bit more to this story.
He's got the pins. Did you ever have those pins? These are like
I didn't, but
the
this was like-
stipulism pen, or like the pen you'd use in art class. Like I had
okay.
dozens of these.
Okay.
And they all had like a very different, tip on them. The lighting's really nice though. It's got like this fill, and it seems like very dynamic lighting.
Yeah, it's cool looking. It's got that Jill Greenberg look. All right, community gives it 2.96. Moving on.
Is this you here in Palmas with the ping pong team?
So yeah, there's apparently a few people in this neighborhood who are very serious at ping pong. I was over at a friend's house the other day, and there's a guy here who's really good at tennis, and him and I were going at it, and he barely beat me.
Like tennis?
Yeah, he's good at like real tennis. But then there's another guy here who owns a $300 paddle.
Yeah.
And he has trained, like he was on like a ping pong team. I have yet to play him. So
you
we'll
probably
see.
stand too close to the table.
I don't think I play, he's like, you must hold the ball flat in the hand and it must throw up vertically 12, whatever the crazy rules are, nobody plays. He does that.
Well, this guy definitely doesn't look like he plays by those rules.
No, this is a little overdoing it.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 2 and a 3. I mean, I get what you're trying to do here, and I like it. It's just the lighting feels a little too crunchy, heavy-handed, and then you've gone a little over the top. It's like, what are you trying to say? That he's got the headgear, but you just didn't bother to do it, so you just put the candy necklace in his mouth? What's...
Yeah, the candy necklace, it doesn't make sense. If you went the other route that the earlier picture had, where you built some kind of mouthpiece,
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's what they're trying to say. Are they trying to say this guy's like super nerdy and he's like...
That's what I think, but
with the candy necklace...
But I feel like a lot has been done here with this guy that you don't have to go over the top with the pose and the facial expression and everything. Like, just put real headgear on him and just take a serious portrait of him like that girl in the second image. I mean, I feel like this could be really cool. I like the clothing and the hair and the headband and everything.
Just like the dog photo, I feel like there's too much modifier in the glasses. I keep going to the beauty dish or whatever it is, and I wish that reflection wasn't there. And then I feel like this has what I always call the Canon raw file green. The
grungy raw green?
Yeah, it's got this raw green grunge to it. And then they've like done too much of the clarity slider. And it's got this like, that's like my lethal combo. Is like the green tone, but then you add the grunginess of the clarity.
Yeah.
I had a couple of wedding photographers that would do a style like this. And I was like, dude, I can't deliver that grading to my client.
Well, what's funny is I like not all, but most of our friends who shot Canon like 8 or 10 years ago, the pictures coming out of their cameras looked like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was going on.
But it was multiple people. It wasn't like that's the way they set their camera. It's like we had 4 friends.
It was like Lightroom was doing that to Canon RAW files, and we're always like, why do your images have this brownish green look?
Yeah.
What is going on? And I don't really see it that often anymore, but I do see it in this image.
Could this be that same camera?
It's just an old Canon camera.
An old image?
I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Community gives this 2.96. What the heck is that in the background?
It's like one of those, it's like a deer, but it's like something you do like in these trendy Airbnbs and stuff. Like you could buy.
It's like a painting that's on the wall,
yeah,
like
it's
a mural?
like a graphic art, of like a deer that's...
Is that supposed to be in this shot? It just feels like a mistake back there. All right, let's rate this.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. 2 stars. We agree. I mean, obviously the styling on her is fantastic, but then what the heck? You got this like weird hand where there's not even like he's not even got the thumb on the lighter. It just feels like you did all this work to get this girl dressed up with this incredible hair and this crazy outfit, and then you were just like, stick this hand in there with this ugly bracelet with this thing in the background.
If you just took the paintbrush and painted out all that on the left, made it black.
Yeah, that would be way better.
Would this be a 3? Could this be a 3?
Yeah, I think so. And then
I mean, the styling's great, and it's super moody, and I feel like it's kind of like a fashion image.
And then I want the light to be moved around camera left. And I want shadows to be cast like towards the right side. Right now it feels like, I don't know, maybe the light's right above the camera, kind of very close to the camera feeling. And it just feels too flat to me in terms of lighting. We've got incredible detail in this girl. I want to be able to see it with the shadows and the highlights, and we're kind of flattening it out with this lighting. So
I don't know that the lighting bothers me that much, but yeah, just get like Photoshop all that out on the left and you at least have a portfolio image.
All right, community gives it 2.47. What the heck is this?
Quirky?
Yes. All right, I have a very strange critique for this. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. So when I first saw this, I didn't like it that much. It's growing on me. I'm liking it more and more and more. Crop into the girl's forehead a little bit. So it looks like that.
That's what I was doing, yeah.
Isn't that way stronger?
She is like not stylized as much as him and not as interesting as him. And then because she's holding the LED light, like, I see what you're doing, but if you make her this like accessory piece, this background piece, it's just something else to fill in there. I mean, imagine if there was like another girl or 2 or 3 people,
that would be awesome.
and then it's now all about this guy.
Yes.
I'm kind of reading it as this is like some kind of duo, like, and she needs to be featured in it because, you know, it's 2 performers. But he looks so good. The green fill light on his forehead with the gold and everything, like the toning is so cool.
I know. I like, as I sit here and look at this, I'm like, ooh, the color and the lighting in this is so great. I want to do an image that feels like this, you know, with these tones and everything.
Yeah.
But because you have placed his head so far below hers, but then you have added empty dead space above her head, it feels like my eye keeps going to her as the subject of this image because she's higher. But she's not even in focus. So I don't want to crop her out of this image completely, but if I crop off the top of her head, I'm getting just a lot more interesting portrait on him with her in the background, and it's working for me then a lot better.
I've never shot this style. How do you think they did this? They had some fill light that's gelled green from above, and then is the white balance just set to where this light's either like a warm incandescent color temperature, or they've made it that in camera, but is all of the rest of the light coming from behind? There's got to be another light source, right?
I was wondering, at first I just assumed like, oh yeah, there's other lights, you know, off camera in the background that are lighting the side of his face and everything, but I don't think so. I think he's being lit by that tube, and then maybe there's just one other light.
The part I don't understand though is if you look at his nose, you could probably see the highlight on his nose might be the green gelled source, but he still has a lot of nice warmth wrapping around his nose there.
Yeah.
Is that all coming from this light beam? Maybe the beam goes out really far and it can wrap around that way, but I don't know. I'd be interested to know what the lighting setup is here, because you have some really nice light like on his clavicle and his neck and stuff.
Yeah.
It just seemed hard to imagine that light's wrapping all the way around, but I love the tones of this.
Community 2.31. Pretty rough, guys. Pretty rough. What the heck is this? What the heck is this? I mean, I can't even tell like what the pose is. Okay.
So a leg
the other guy's foot is going under this dude's head, and is he holding the foot?
I don't know where the other guy, the green helmet guy, I don't know where his foot is.
Is it not behind this front guy's head?
Well, it looks like from the neck position of the guy closest to the camera, it looks like his calf is over his neck, right? So it would appear that his foot should be going kind of where the arm is, closest to the camera.
I don't know.
It's strange.
But then it looks like the guy in the foreground is like lifting his butt up off the bed with his feet and legs.
Yeah. He's like bridging or something.
Hey, look at you with the jiu-jitsu lingo.
I thought that was a wrestling lingo, but...
That was probably the same.
I love this scene, though. Like, this scene has so much character. I don't know that it's shot and photographed as well as it could be.
Yeah, it's lots of blown out areas, you know? If there was a little bit more detail in those highlights, I feel like it would look really cool.
But this is almost like a scene that you would love to build, but it would take too much time.
Yeah, so you'd
but
never
here
do it.
you have it, but
Yeah.
I don't... All right, we should probably just rate it.
All right, 3, 2, 1. 2 stars. I can't tell what's going on in this image. Like, I cannot tell if these guys are wrestling. I can't.
They're like, it looks like the bed's breaking.
Yeah, I don't understand what I'm even looking at here. That being said, this is weird enough and grungy enough that I could see some famous photographer putting this on their website as like their personal projects, and you just look at it and go, I don't know what the hell that is, but I guess he's an artist, so he must know what he's doing. But
it has so much
not doing
potential.
for me.
Like you said, the highlights were blown out a little bit, but if you had just one other person, again, I'm going to go on my tangent of just making up something, but if you had a person sitting in this corner here and just looking at the camera like bored or like frustrated, or you had somebody sitting here on the dead part of the couch and they were just like acting perturbed, these guys are roughhousing with it, you know, there'd have to be some other story because you can't see their faces. It doesn't really make sense what they're doing.
Yeah.
And nothing reads well photographically because you have all these blown out areas and I don't know, but the scene's interesting.
Well, community agrees with us. 2.06. This is number 19.
Was that the winning image?
This is another winning image. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, message me directly on Fstoppers. What are you laughing about?
It's like an inside joke of, are people actually reaching out to you? And if
Yes.
they are you responding to them?
Yes, I'm responding to them.
We joke because sometimes Lee doesn't always pay attention to the details when it comes to emails. And now he's
Don't
requesting.
email me. Don't email me. Send me a private message on Fstoppers. And I have good news for everyone who has no faith in me.
No.
Fstoppers has now moved. When you buy a tutorial from fstoppers.com/store, it is now tied to your Fstoppers account.
Yep.
I don't know if you've learned how all of this has worked, but...
Yeah, you can now just log into your account and you can get access to anything you've purchased. And
Right. Which is cool because people lose their tutorials and then email us a year later and we have to send them new links, blah, blah, blah. So now it's like in your profile, everything that you've purchased or won will be in there. And so we are working on an automated system so that when you win, like we're just going to check the winners in the back end and they just get a coupon for any tutorial they want automatically.
Yep.
And you don't have to rely on me at all. We haven't made that yet, so you do still have to rely on me. So send me a private message on Fstoppers. All right, are you ready, Patrick?
now, earlier in the critique, we had an image where I believe, for the sake of YouTube, we will have to censor. Is this one of those images too? Is this a guy or girl? And it kind of brings up the question of like, we were joking about free the nipple, but like, does it matter? Like, this kind of looks like a girl,
yeah, I mean, he's wearing women's underwear, but it does not look like a breast. It looks like a pectoral.
but look at the knees. That's a female's legs, right?
Oh, you think this is photoshopped onto...
I mean, I'm just saying, I think this is a girl, but I don't know. It doesn't, like you said, the chest looks more like a pec than it does a breast. The nipple, I mean, all nipples kind of look the same, I guess, you know, but it's funny.
Well, now that I look at the nipple itself, it does look much more feminine than a normal man's nipple, but
I mean,
I don't know what the heck.
Yeah, the nipple...
We've gone way too deep.
Way too deep in this. I just wonder, like, if we should censor this for YouTube because it's a breast. But then at the same time, like, it's so not sexual. It's just weird. It's a weird thing when you have to censor stuff like this, you know? And I guess this is what people have been complaining about on Instagram for years.
Yeah.
But here's a great example of, like, I don't know.
Let's rate it. 3, 2, 1.
2 or 3. I guess I'll go 3 because I feel like this can fit in that kind of quirky avant-garde portfolio.
Yeah. You know, my biggest issue with this is I don't like. There's wrinkles in the paper on the bottom right, and my eye just keeps going to that. And like, I like the different detail and gradient in the paper, but it just looks like wrinkly paper on the right, and I hate wrinkly paper.
Yeah, but like, this image is so not perfect and beautiful, and like, it kind of, does it suffer because of that? I mean,
I don't know. I feel like every other aspect of this is fairly perfect and polished, except for the wrinkles in the paper.
Yeah. I personally don't get this kind of stuff. This is like the fine art world where this image could sell for $10,000 and you're like, oh, okay. But, you know, there's a lot of high-end photographers from the 80s and 90s that they have whole sections of stuff like this on their site, and, you know, they're the world's most famous photographers. But doesn't do a whole lot for me, but...
Community rates it pi 3.14.
Look at that. They really liked it. And the final image of the critique. This has a very whimsical, altered reality. Like, this feels like hyper reality. I don't know if, were they using that Luminar eye enhancer where the eyes have become bigger, and there's something about the post-processing on this that's like a little heavy-handed, but at the same time, it's a style that like Disney or somebody would use quite a bit.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
I am.
3, 2, 1. I'm going 4.
I mean, I'm kind of between a 3 and a 4.
I would love a little bit more of a genuine smile from her. It feels like she's
coming off of a smile.
Yes, like the edges of her mouth aren't really going up. It looks like her mouth is kind of closing. So I don't know if this is the peak. You know, everybody has a different natural smile. Some people have beautiful natural smiles. I think I have a pretty bad natural smile.
Yeah.
And so, what?
No, I'm just laughing to be engaging.
Oh.
You know.
Well, like I've seen myself in enough photographs where I try to tone down my smile, because if I smile big, I feel like I look really goofy. So I might take a picture where my mouth is closed. You know, you're
smirking more than you're smiling.
Yeah, because I feel like my smile isn't the best. I don't know if this little girl, I would assume she has a gorgeous, genuine smile, and it was just barely missed here, but I could be wrong. Maybe this is as good as it gets with her. I don't know. But still a very engaging expression. I mean, I am captivated by this image, the brightness of her eyes, the tone of her eyes. Obviously, this has a lot of heavy-handed post-processing, but like you said, that's kind of the style of it.
Yeah.
So I really like it. I feel like I have seen advertising shots with this style everywhere. And so for that reason,
what do you think they're doing to get this style? I mean, they're obviously shooting wide open.
I don't know.
Like, her dress seems so blurred to the point where it's almost like they put a cartoon effect. You know, it's like more than bokeh. It's more than just being out of focus, right? And it's so shallow, but it's still a wide shot. So I don't know what this effect is. And I feel like you can kind of see it brushed in on her hair, and it's well done, but it's still very heavy-handed. But I think you can live in that world, you know, where it's over the top, but it's for a shot like this. Now, if this was a different subject matter, it might scream that, like, wow, this is too much.
Well, the community disagrees with us. Oh boy, 2.79. And I think that wraps up this critique.
It's good because my iPad is on 10%.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you would like to be a part of the next critique, you can upload your
interpretation of backlit
images using the link in the description, or you can always go to fstoppers.com/contests to see whatever contest or critique we currently have running. You can win a chance at 2 free tutorials in each one of these critiques. And if you want to know what the heck I'm talking about, head over to fstoppers.com/store to check out those. Anything else you have to say?
Check out the link below to also submit your own picture if you've been in a critique in the past and tell us a little story about it. Tell us how right or wrong we were. And if you have a before, after, behind the scenes, like anything else to just make that episode a little more interesting. Like I said, I'm gonna let this run for a few weeks to give people time, and then we'll pick out, you know, some of our favorite images, and should be an interesting video.
See you next time.